this month I have a bit of a risky little thing that I'm doing for my TBR. Stay tuned to find out what it is. Hello everyone, it's Rebecca here and welcome back to my channel if you're new here. Hiya, how are you doing? Today's video is going to be my November TBR. So for the month of November, I have a few things that I had in mind that I wanted to do. And one of those was an idea that I'm still considering doing further down the line, just not for November obviously. And the other idea was to let Twitter pick what I read. Which is basically what I've done. So I set out with 3 prompts. They were just polls on Twitter and I asked my Twitter followers to decide what they wanted to see me read. So I thought I would share that with you today because obviously it's a TBR video. But before I start, I do just want to go through 1 or 2 things that I really do want to get to in the month of November. But I also just want to say that I tried to set an October TBR and went down the pan. It's the 29th of October and I still haven't finished a book. I have 50 pages left in my buddy read of The Bone Witch. I have an hour left in my audiobook of Ready Player One. I'm 138 pages into The Diviners, which was the group book for the Supernatural-a-thon, and I'm thinking about DNFing Rat Queens because I don't care. So, fingers crossed. Does anybody else's fingers do that weird? Fingers crossed, I don't know which way to do it. Anyway, fingers crossed that November's TBR is a better one. So before we get to the Twitter polls, I do just want to say without a doubt that I want to be getting to Secret Santa by Andrew Schaefer for the month of November. And this book was sent to me very, very kindly by the publishing team, so thank you very much, publishers. I am very, very appreciative. This is pitched as The Office meets The Shining, and I don't know why I was attracted to that. Like, I don't know what made me go, that sounds amazing. I think it was the 80s vibe to it. But this follows Lucy Mayer, who is desperate to work anywhere in publishing. Prestigious Blackwood Patterson isn't the perfect fit, but a bizarre set of circumstances leads her to hire and affirm mandate. Lucy must find the next horror superstar to compete with Stephen King, Anne Rice and Peter Straub. It is the 80s after all, and horror is the hottest genre in the industry. I can't speak today. But as soon as she arrives, Lucy finds herself the target of mean-spirited pranks by her co-workers who clearly don't want her there. The hazing reaches its peak during the company's annual Secret Santa gift exchange, and when Lucy receives a strange gift that she recognises but doesn't understand. Suddenly her co-workers begin falling victim to a series of horrific accidents, and Lucy suspects her new gift is involved somehow. With the help of the former author Fabian Nightingale, Lucy must track down her anonymous Secret Santa and figure out the true meaning of the mysterious object in her possession before it destroys the company and possesses her. So that is the synopsis of the book. The author is the same person who wrote the Obama-Biden Mysteries, I think it was, like a comedy parody spoof. I'm hoping that this is quite parody-esque, and I thought that November would be a good month because it is obviously the month before the key Christmas month and also the month after spooky season. So I thought that November would be a good time to pick this up. It comes out on the 20th of November in the UK, so you can get yourself a copy then. But for now, on to the Twitter polls. So for the first Twitter poll, I asked my Twitter followers to decide which book I should sit and finish that I'm currently in the middle of reading. So option 1 was The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I'm currently on page 466 to 467 of this, and I have not picked this up in a long time. The second option was The Diviners by Libba Bray, which I'm 138 pages into, and this was the group book for the Supernatural-a-thon, so I should have finished it already and I just haven't. So I put these to Twitter and asked them to decide which one I should sit and finish, and with a landslide 68% of the votes, Priory won. Priory of the Orange Tree won. I have 400 and something pages of this to read in November. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the start of the last chapter, which is chapter 43. I think I'm going to go back to like chapter 43, which is like 10 pages earlier, and read that and familiarise myself with that and continue on with this one. So this is the first book that Twitter picked for me to read. Next up, I asked Twitter to pick which series I should continue, so which sequel I should read next, and I gave Twitter 4 options. So I gave the options of Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman, which is the second in the arc of Being a Scythe series. I also gave Aurora Burning, which is the second in the Aurora cycle, the first one being Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I also gave A Closed and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers, which is the second in the Wayfarer series. And the last option I gave was Queen of Shadows by Sarah J Maas, which is the 4th in the Throne of Glass series, I believe. So all of those are sequels that I really wanted to get to and really need to get to. Aurora Burning was actually on my October TBR and I still haven't read it, so there you go. So the voting was very tight for this round, and with 2% difference the winner was Aurora Burning by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is the second in the Aurora cycle, the first one being Aurora Rising, which I read last year, and considering this is one of my most anticipated releases of this year and I still haven't read it, I don't know what's wrong with me either. So this one follows on from the first one, where we have Ty and his crew who pick up Aurora, or Ori, as she is the sole survivor of this basically dead ship that's floating through space essentially. But obviously things aren't as they seem and this team just have to kind of get on with it. I remember reading Aurora Rising and there was a certain part in it that made me cry, so I don't know if that's going to do the same for me in here, but I have heard a lot of mixed reviews about this one and people not thinking this was as good as the first one, so I'm holding out hope because I really enjoyed Aurora Rising. So the last option I asked Twitter to pick from was which middle grade I should read. So out of these, the options were A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison, Frost Heart by Jamie Littler, and Nevermore by Jessica Townsend. And the results for this one were a bit of a landslide for the majority of the time that the poll was up, and that is Nevermore by Jessica Townsend with 47% of the results. So again, another one that was on my October TBR. So you guys kind of like looked at me and went, you're an idiot, you need to read your books, just continue on with the TBR. Like, I feel like that's what my Twitter followers did. So thank you very much to my Twitter followers for voting for this one. So I have actually started this one already, as in I'm on page 6, and I kind of couldn't get into it fully, so then I picked up A Pinch of Magic, which I got more into, so maybe switching this out, kind of hoping not to, but carrying on. This follows Morrigan Grow, who's cursed, destined to die on her 11th birthday, but as the clock strikes midnight of her 11th birthday, this man named Jupiter North just appears out of nowhere, whisks her away, takes her to the secret city of Nevermore. There she's invited to join the wondrous society. Mystery, magic and protection are hers if she can only pass 4 impossible trials using an exceptional talent which she doesn't have. My words are terrible today. So yeah, those were the 3 books that Twitter had voted for me to read this month. I also asked if they would like me to vlog my progress of the month, and 97% of you said yes. So that 3% of you, boo you. It's happening, sorry not sorry. Yeah, I have 4 planned books, but I also have a bonus book that I really want to get to if I can reach it. And that is Jade City by Fonda Lee. I was considering putting this on a poll, but then I realised that it probably wouldn't win because not a lot of people know about Jade City as much as they do about, you know, the likes of Raybearer or Legendborn or, you know, anything else that I have on my shelves right now. So I'm gonna try and get to this one too. I know that it is a very much loved read by quite a lot of people on BookTube, so I want to get into that hype. It's basically magical mafia from what I can tell, and I'm excited. So there we have it. These are the 5 books that Twitter has picked for me to read this month. Well, 3 books that Twitter's picked for me to read this month. Have you seen any of your favourites on this pile? Let me know in the comments down below. Are you surprised that it's taken me this long to get to these? Also let me know in the comments down below. If you voted for any of these as well, I'd love to hear what your votes were, because people have actually said they're surprised at what 1 or 2 of the outcomes were. So yeah, that is it for today's video. If you open that description box, you'll find a link to all my other social media channels. Come say hi on other platforms. I'd love to be a friend on those. You'll also find a link to the books where you can purchase these down below as well. Secret Santa doesn't come out until the 20th of November, so you will find the link to the pre-order, and then obviously when it goes live you can purchase it there too. But yeah, if you hit that like and subscribe button, that would really help my channel out as well. Maybe even click the bell icon. I am trying to stick to weekly uploads, but we all know that's probably not going to be the case. Thank you all so much for watching, and I shall see you all soon in another video. Bye!